Last week, I posted a video asking you guys for some help. And inside of that video, I presented you with a little Google Forms survey. Just talking about my YouTube channel, things that you like about it, things you would change in it. And I got a lot of responses, okay? I expected 300 responses to that survey. I ended up with 5,624 responses and more still coming in. They were coming in as I was making this presentation today. But many of you commented and you were like, hey, it'd be cool if we could see the results of the survey. So here you go. Here's my PowerPoint presentation of how I'm going to be running my YouTube channel. And we're just going to talk about some of the questions, your guys' answers, and then we'll kind of clean up at the end with just some, what did I take away from this, right? And why did I do some of this? And we'll talk a little bit about that. But hey, thank you for filling out the survey. Really, really beneficial for my channel. So to start out, very, very basic question. How long have you guys been watching me? And this alone was fascinating to me because we've had a lot of growth on the channel in the last 1 to 2 years. And that makes a lot of sense when looking at this chart. 34% of you here in the last 1 to 2 years. But what I thought was pretty fascinating about this was that there is a huge chunk of you, and I'm talking, you know, about 30%, right, that have been here 2 to 5 years. And if you bring in the 5+ years, it's about a third of the audience that has been here following, watching this channel for more than 5 years. And that's crazy to me. I mean, that's a lot of support. That goes into the next bit, which is really the kind of evaluated data of how often those viewers are watching. And this is where I think the data gets really, really interesting. I know it's number overload on here, but I kind of asked you guys, how often do you watch? Every day, a couple videos a week, once a week, rarely, or you used to watch, but not anymore. And what's fascinating about this data is that more or less, the longer that you have watched the channel, the more often that you watch the channel. And that's the highlighted number on the bottom of the screen, right? 30% of you that have been watching for 5 years still watch me every day, which is crazy. Even the people that are 2 to 5 years on the channel are still, a fourth of you are watching every day. Now, a lot of you may cherry pick these stats and go, well, Tyler, the number in the bottom right, 14.5%, that means that the people that are 5+ years no longer watch you. That's very normal, right? Like people change, their content that they enjoy changes. But the fact of the matter remains, the longer that you have watched me, the more likely you are to continue watching me every day, which I think is really, really great. So that goes into what you guys want, right? And this is kind of 4 main pillars that you guys responded to for what you want from the Olexa channel, what drives you back to this channel. And that is my commentary and my personality. This was like far and away the highest, which just made me feel very loved. I kind of thought that it was more just the games and the content that we're making, but the reality is that you guys are mainly watching for me, and that is very heartwarming, right? I mean, that's how I want it to be. I want this channel to be an extension of me as a person, and in doing so, you're getting a glimpse into my mindset, my style, my personality, and that's what you're looking for, and I think that that's really valuable. Along with that is also discovering new games. That's been a staple pillar for our channel. Olexa looks, finding and discovering new interesting games, and we'll talk a little more about that in a second. A lot of you mentioned you want relaxing background videos. You find my voice calming. You find my voice nice to listen to. You're falling asleep to my videos, which I think is a compliment and not an insult. People always feel weird talking about that. I think that this is something that we can continue to expand on, and we'll talk a little more about that throughout this. And finally, humor. A lot of you find me funny, which I'm not sure that I find myself funny, but I'm glad that you find me funny. I'm glad that I can inject a little bit of humor into some of these videos and continue to drive that point in the future. So you guys have spoken. I want to show you your videos, your favorite series that you have enjoyed on the channel. I don't think that I'm all that surprised by this, right? It's kind of Olexa looks far and away right at the top. Roguelike Olexa looks dominating, right? 3,000 responses. That was about 58% of you that put down roguelike Olexa looks. You got incremental game Olexa looks. You got puzzle Olexa looks. The Olexa look idea is what drives most of the views on this channel. I've known that for a very long time. This is not surprising to me. Where things are surprising, and I want to talk about it, is that the next on here was the root trees are dead / the incident at Galley House, followed by the message from Deep Space, followed by Lingo. About 30 to 35% of you on each one of those. This is the best case of what we call recency bias, okay? It's kind of obvious that the people that are watching the channel right now, watching the series that I'm doing, would be most likely to open up this video and then respond to the survey. So I see these as a little inflated. I do not think that this represents the core full of my audience. I'm interested in seeing things like Sol Sesto on there, Slay the Spire, Mugenics, like those are from earlier this year. There's not a lot of things from the past on this favorite series list. Like, it obviously I gave you a lot of choices, so it trickles down and there's responses for more or less everything. And I'll probably attach the raw data minus the viewer responses, just because there were some like personal messages and things like that. But the core multiple choice data, I'll attach a spreadsheet in the description or something so you can view all that data. But this isn't I want to say this very nicely. This isn't actually very helpful for me. This was more fun to see the data. But I think that recency bias is a tough pill to swallow on some of this. And it's difficult to correlate between how useful this data can actually be. What is useful to see is your recommendations for games that you want. And there were kind of a few that just dominated this as well. So these were, I tried to do the best I could mentions of certain games in this list, and two kind of dominated the side, and they're highlighted. A lot of you have asked about Outer Wilds. A lot of you have asked about the Return of the Obra Dinn. These are both on my backlog. A lot of you don't know. Some of those five plus year people may know, but I actually tried to stream Outer Wilds a long time ago. The game made me pretty motion sick, which is why I ended up just scrapping it. I only played for like 2 hours, and I don't remember anything. So I may come back to it. I feel like I'm a little better with motion sickness than what I was back in the day. Maybe it's something that I could make happen on the channel and something that I can explore. The Return of the Obra Dinn, I also really want to play. I mean, it obviously would fit very well. Chance of Sonar is another one that many people have mentioned. Surprised to see Factorio on this list. But yeah, I mean, something that I've wanted to play as well. Some interesting games here. Something for me to explore as I look forward to new series and things like that. So all in all, there's one core point that I want to drive home, and this is something that maybe stupidly I've been looking at. And again, I think that it's recency bias, and I was starting to worry like my roguelike videos were not performing as well as puzzle games and things like that, which does not upset me in any way, because I want to grow this channel on puzzle content and open up that another genre to go off of. But the data says that roguelikes are not dead on this channel, okay? You guys kind of overwhelmingly said that the genre that you like the most is roguelikes. That's 62%. Weird experimental indie games, 45%, and I think that makes a lot of sense because that's kind of that next. Roguelikes are very adjacent to me right now for indie games. Like, everything is a roguelike, and we'll talk about that a little later too. But puzzle being right up there, mystery and deduction games, that's bringing in that incident at Galley House, that message from Deep Space, recency bias, incremental games, deck builders, factory games, and then there's a drop off. You know, it's the multiplayer, co-op, tactical strategy, simulation games, horror games. It's not to say I'm not going to ever do any of those. But it's something that you guys prefer at a lower frequency than the other things. So roguelikes and roguelites, I mean, it's fairly obvious looking at this channel. That is a huge staple and a huge desire from all of you. However, okay, there is some interesting data, and this goes back to the recency bias, but the data itself unpacks it. Mystery and puzzle games are bringing in new viewers to this channel and helping me expand the channel scope to enable a new subsection of viewers and grow the channel. And I know that a lot of you, mentioned things about me growing the channel and wanted to mention that you don't think that growing the channel is an important thing for me to do. And I want to talk about that a little at the end of this presentation. But the data here is kind of cool, right? So I correlated between people that want roguelikes versus people that want mystery deduction puzzle games, and correlated that with the amount of time you've been watching the channel. Less than 3 months, much higher on mystery deduction and puzzle games, lower on roguelikes. Anybody in that 2 to 5, lower on mystery and deduction and puzzle games, higher on roguelikes. The data doesn't lie, right? And it makes logical sense when you're looking at the successful series on the channel this year, and the kind of, I don't know, just content that we've been posting. There's a recency bias here. This is good for me to know, because that's telling me that doing puzzle games, doing mystery games, there's still viewers, like 40% of you are still watching that content from that 2 to 5 year mark, while it's bringing in new viewers that have only been here less than 3 months. So there's value in me doing it, which is good. That goes into the types of videos that we're uploading. I asked what type of new upload sounds the most exciting to you. The vast majority of you said 2 things. It was a weird game that I've never heard of, or another episode of an ongoing series, which I think is very, very interesting. And this is good data that I got out of this survey. That comes to what's the balance you prefer between new games and recurring series. And 56% of you said about 50-50, meaning that you want new games half the time and continuing a series another 50% of the time. Which comes into the first main criticism that a lot of you gave in the survey, which is, I abandoned games too quickly. And I think that that's something that I need to explore and unpack a little bit. Because I think it's true that I do abandon games too quickly. Sometimes at the fault of the game, sometimes at the fault of the viewership, but mostly at the fault of my own lack of patience. And that's something that I want to show you here in a second. So when you really enjoy a game, how long do you want that series to be? This is where a lot of you continued to say long, right? 39% of you, that's almost 40%, want that series to be longer than 10 episodes. A lot of you also said it depends on the game, which is probably the correct answer, which is why I put that in here. I can't make a 200 episode Incident at Galley House series. There's not enough content in the game for that. Like, it has a finish. But roguelikes are in that weird kind of spot where you can run a roguelike a really long time. And there has to be a period where you decide, yep, I've had it. The views have dipped. It's not worth continuing that series. But there's value in continuing a series past a certain point, and that's the idea of growing a community. The people that fall in love with the game, it's that first chart at the beginning, right? The people that have been here longer watch more. And how do you get people to stay here longer? By giving them the content that they enjoy. You become a fan of Olexa off of being a fan of the game. And that's a mantra I've kind of gone by a long time on my channel, is that series are still important, and obviously a lot of you see that there's a shift away from series on YouTube because they don't perform as well. They don't. I mean, there's facts and stats to back that up. The third episode of a series is going to have 25% of the views of the first episode of that series. But what I fall into sometimes is I will too quickly judge the performance of a game. And I want to show you an example. It's the Incident at Galley House, right? I uploaded the first episode of it. I spent a lot of time on this thumbnail, for one. And then I uploaded the first episode of it, and I was kind of upset, okay? After 24 hours, it was underperforming. You can see that that gray line is basically where the video should be after 24 hours based on everything else on my channel. So the views had almost hit, you know, my low end of the average after 24 hours. And I was quick to say in those videos that, yeah, the series isn't performing well, and I just want to play the game for me, and I continued on with it. Until I looked at the data more following the next couple of days. And now the views on that first episode are 140,000, and you can see a sizable increase that happened a couple days after that first episode. And the reason why you can get increase in views in those first couple days is as I'm uploading more episodes in a series, that's giving more exposure to that game and getting more clicks from new viewers on those second episodes that are now going back and watching that first episode. Sometimes it takes a couple days for a video to get kind of its place in the algorithm and find the people that actually want to watch it, and that's what's going to drive new subscribers to the channel. So I'm sometimes quick to abandon a game because I feel that first episode doesn't perform as well, and that's a flaw and something that I need to work on more with the channel. So why make a series, right? Why make a series? You guys responded. You want to watch a series because you really like the game. That seems obvious to me. But there's some other ones that I think are interesting. You want to see me beat or complete something. Progression and unlocks. You want to know where it's going to go. And I think that sense of intrigue is something that I can explore in like titles and thumbnails to give you a reason to come back and watch more episodes of that series. I think that's interesting. Why stop watching the channel? This is now getting into some more opinions instead of, I mean, I guess it's all opinions, right? But it's more about you as a viewer. And I put this question in because I don't know. I think that it's interesting to unpack, and a lot of you even mentioned in the free response, you were like, I wasn't sure how to answer this question. Why you would watch less. So the vast majority, 51% of you, said that the games just haven't interested me, which I think is a natural thing on a channel. You're going to change your views and opinions on certain games, and that's going to drive you either to or away from a channel. Maybe it drives you back when you cover a different kind of game. Maybe you just stop watching that channel as a whole. A chunk of you just said that life gets busy, right? Your YouTube habits change. You don't have time for YouTube anymore, which is extremely reasonable. Like that's not, I'm not taking any, criticism out of that for me. That's just a very natural progression. I've been doing this for 15 years at this point. I have watched my Discord community members leave, come back, grow, change. I knew some of them when they were 13. They're literally 25 now. It's a very jarring scenario to be in my state and kind of see the growth and change of my viewers. And it's something that I've just accepted over the years, and something that is a part of doing YouTube. There's a couple things that I do want to unpack in here that are highlighted. So I preferred older games / series, 25% of you. I think that this is something I also can't solve, is the reality. A channel has to always change, right? You can't just stagnate in the same videos over and over, because you'll never have growth and you'll never find that next thing. Variety is always the spice of life. And 75% of you clearly prefer that variety, as do I. Like, I would get bored if I just did the same thing over and over again. I didn't highlight these, but I want to call them out. Not enough ongoing series, 10% of you. Too many ongoing series, 5% of you. Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. There's some small contention there, but it's a very small percentage of you, so it's not something that I want to even necessarily unpack. One that I do want to bring up is the 3% saying that the videos are too long, which is fun because we're going to get into another point here shortly, which is video length, right? So ideal video length, 45% of you said I don't care if the video is good, I'm happy, which I like. That's the answer that I want. That's the vast majority of you, and I'm very pleased with that. But what I think is fascinating is the vast majority of you prefer not short videos. Only about 6% of you want a video under 30 minutes. And I think that that's a lifestyle type thing, right? You're popping out a video during dinner, you're popping out a video before bed, you're putting it on while studying. Like, you want longer content, something to unpack and have a longer experience with, right? I've never been one to do super short videos. A lot of you expressed wanting even longer than, 9% of you give me a 2-hour video, right? But again, I think that the top, I don't care if the video is good. I'm happy. That's kind of the ideal spot where I want to be. So, yeah, and this is only 31% of the 5,000 responses said the video is too long. To put that into perspective, like, that's that's just not a lot, right? And that's something that I need to keep in mind, because sometimes I will do a video that is long, and I will feel like it's not going to perform well because it's long, and just because it's long. And the reality is it's not really a factor for a lot of you. So let's talk about some of the other Olexa channels. And this was fun, sad, disappointing, and good takeaways for me. Of the other channels that I have, 98.6% of you knew about the main Olexa channel. I don't know how any of you wouldn't if you found that video on the main Olexa channel. Only about 2/3 of you knew about the board game channel, which I think is fair. Only about 50% of you knew that I have a Twitch and have a VOD channel. That's kind of crazy. Only 40% of you know about the Discord, which is also bad. And then only 25% of you know about my podcast. There's reasons for a lot of this. And it's a criticism I also got in the free responses, and it's something that I'm going to work on, and we'll talk about that later. But I'm just not really good at promoting these, and I'm juggling too much stuff. And that's something that we'll talk about more in a little bit. But I want to talk about Olexa games. This is the board game channel first. A lot of you basically said, give me full board game playthroughs, give me weird indie board games, give me board game reviews and recommendations. 17% of you saying that board games just aren't my thing. I get that. I want to continue to try to convince you that the roguelikes and puzzle games you enjoy are really just digital versions of board games in most scenarios, and that's a big purpose of that channel. But that's something that I'm working on in video ideas and things like that. But the main complaint that I got about the Olexa Games channel is mainly just there's not enough content on it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later too. In terms of Olexa, this was fascinating to me. Interest in live streams. About 60% of you just said, yeah, I don't really care about live streams, which I think is interesting. I haven't streamed a lot in the last couple of years, and it's mainly a timing thing for me, but it's something that I do want to get back to doing. I'm just interested that 60% of you don't care about it, and actually actively said that you don't really want to watch streams. That said, a good chunk of you did say that you want to watch VODs. So you're fine watching the streams after the fact, but you don't really want to watch them live. And there were some reasons for that some people gave. Things like, I'm not very good at reading the chat, which is potentially true. Times are just bad for when I stream, and that's also very true. It's typically after my full-time job, which would be 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 10 to 11 o'clock in Europe. So it can get tricky to get it across the globe. But this is interesting. I'm not positive that this is going to change anything. I want to get back to streaming. And I think that there's value in live streams, but it's cool data to have. In terms of the Olexa Discord, 60% of you said basically, no, you didn't even know that it existed. You're not in it. Well, sorry, 60% of you said, no, you're not in it. 27% said you didn't know it even existed. And then, the rest of you, yes, active, joined but left. Yes, but you mostly lurk. You can check out the Olexa Discord. It's free to join. It's linked in the description of every single video that I ever make. Experimental content. This was a section that a lot of you were like, Tyler, I don't really get this section. this was more for me. These are just ideas that I've had. I wanted to gauge interest in them, and I found a couple things fascinating in here. So 43% of you love the idea of a full game in one video, so like a 4 to 6 hour video. I've thought about this for incremental games. There's been a lot of people that have been like, yeah, I love your incremental game videos, but you end like an hour before the game would end anyway, and it's kind of like just finish it at that point. I think that those are games that could really work for doing a very long full video, and that's something that I may explore. Split perspective multiplayer video. So this is like the roguelike bingo that I did with Rito. These are what I kind of classify as evergreen content, right? It's something new that other people just aren't doing. And those are really good for channel growth. They're also really good for falling into that bucket of like videos I'm proud of. Something that requires a little bit of editing, something that requires a little bit of effort. They make me feel good when I'm making and editing those. They just take a long time. And that's why there haven't been a lot of them this year. And it's something that as we continue to move forward in time, I want to continue to improve that. I want to touch on the two highlighted ones at the bottom. Shorts, 2.3% of you interested in Olexa shorts. That's hilarious to me. You basically said F them shorts, which I can't even really disagree with. Shorts are a tricky thing on YouTube because a lot of you say, yeah, I'm not interested in them, but a lot of you are still scrolling them, okay? And it's just the truth. Shorts are good for exposure, and that's about it. And I want to still utilize shorts for that exposure, getting my name out there. But this has clearly proven that it's not something I should spend a lot of time on. Like, you guys are not going through your day looking forward to seeing a short from me. It's more, you know, if they happen, maybe you'll watch it kind of thing. And I'm really trying to capture with shorts the viewers that aren't watching the channel regularly. It's those funny moments, interesting moments. That's what you try to capture in the shorts. And then in the podcast episode. So I mean, this is just like my fault, right? I've done 3 episodes of a podcast in 9 months, basically. It's just not a good enough cadence, and I think that only 5% of you saying that. I mean, there's a good chance that the vast majority of you haven't even watched any of those or listened to any of those. So it's not surprising seeing that number so low for me. It's a number I want to work on because I do really like the podcast is more a thing for me. Like I love the idea of doing it, talking to game developers. Like the interesting thing is developer interviews, 31% of you are interested. The podcast episodes are developer interviews. So like clearly 31% of you would be interested in that. It's just on me to make those more regularly, promote them and expose you to them. And that's, you know, that's a takeaway for me. So now we get into the open response. This is crazy to me. So these were optional, right? Of the 5,000 of you, 3,500 voluntarily wrote an optional open-ended response about how you feel about the channel and the survey, which is, I mean, it's just a blessing to have all of those to read through. It took me like 3 hours to read through all of them, but it's worth it to see all of it. So here's some of the stuff that you guys mentioned. Most of you, 22%, I mean, it was just general support and praise for me and the channel, which is obviously very kind, and I feel loved and blessed, and I can't express how much gratitude I have for reading a lot of the things, nice things that you guys put in there. A lot of you brought up personality, commentary, comfortable vibe on the channel as being things that you love about the Olexa channel. And I seriously, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for that kind of feedback. The two that I have highlighted are two things that I want to touch on, and a lot of you, you know, it says 5%, but I think that the 5% can sometimes speak louder than the other 95%, and that's concerns about burnout, concerns about workload, concerns about my well-being. I need to do better with some of this. This is a problem in my life for sure. I don't know how to relax. I don't know how to just like have fun. I'm the kind of person that my brain is is constantly going. I'm constantly working. I mean, hell, I'm basically working 2 jobs right now with my full-time job in YouTube. I don't burn out very easily. I just don't. And that's not like I'm built different. I just think that I handle burnout a little differently. I burn out in my full-time job all the time. I don't burn out on YouTube. And I think a lot of it is that I love doing it. And when you love doing something, it's really hard to burn out on doing it. My issue with YouTube is that I wish I could do more all the time. It's hard to burn out when you're constantly wishing you do more. So I do appreciate all of the concerns. I need to work on this. And that's part of the survey, is the reality, is understanding where should I be putting effort to so that I can adjust that workload and allow me to have a better work-life balance between this. With that, I want to highlight the bottom point, which only 1.5% of you brought up, but I think it's worth talking about. A lot of you were concerned about this survey and just like what it meant and the meaning behind it. And some of you were like, Tyler, please don't optimize. This is exact words from someone. Please don't optimize the soul out of the channel. And I think that's such an important point to bring up. It's really easy to fall into the like analytics and metrics mean everything. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to optimize the soul out of the channel. This channel is still me. If you're here for me, I'm just going to be doing more me. It's just how I get that me across to you. I talk about the algorithm. I talk about views a lot, and a lot of you are done with that. You're tired of me talking about it, and I think that's good feedback to have. I shouldn't talk about it, right? It's kind of like, you know, when you're complaining about your job to your spouse, and then you realize that all you do is complain about your job to your spouse, to the point where now they're holding all of the struggles and pain of your life on them, and they think that they have to solve it and fix it. And the reality is that you're just like always miserable around them because all you do is talk about how much you hate your job. You guys aren't going to want to watch me if all I do is complain about my channel. The reality is my channel's great. There's really not that much wrong with it. It's doing fine. It's in a really, really good spot. And a lot of you are nervous that I'm trying to figure out how to grow the channel and improve the channel because I'm seeing some like disaster numbers on the back end. I'm not seeing that, right? The channel's in a really good spot. So this is more of a takeaway for me to shut up, okay? I shouldn't have to talk about these things with you guys. That's where I used to do a lot more of that in like streams, talking about the back end and how I make content and things like that. And I don't stream as often anymore, so I feel like some of it is leaking into the normal videos, and I don't think it's a good place for it to be. So that's a takeaway that I've gotten. And that goes into criticisms, right? There were a lot, which is good, okay? This is what I wanted to see all of the constructive criticism, and I want to unpack some of it because I think that there's a lot of these that are really good and important. But I do want to start with basically that most of these criticisms were just baked inside of comments with love and praise. Like, this was not people that came in and were like, frick you, Olexa, you're a dumbass, I hate your content. There were a couple, but mainly it was like, hey, I love your channel, but here's some things that I've noticed, and I appreciate all of those. So the first main thing that a lot of you just religiously berated me for, this survey did not take 5 minutes, and I think that's fair. I underestimated just how much effort went into this. So again, thank you to everybody that filled it out. Some of you said it took like a half hour for you to do. I'm really sorry about that. I really appreciate it. I am really sorry about that. Here's now some actual criticism about the channel. So some videos are slow in places, especially during puzzle games. I agree, okay? I've always had a channel that is long-form content. Long-form content is great if things are happening in the long-form content. If things aren't happening in the long-form content, long-form is not a good approach for that. And I think that there's ways for us to improve this, and I've actually done it before. There was a game called Packer-Ette Down the Bunburrows. Hell of a title, but it's a puzzle game, right? And it's really hard. And I did one episode of it, and it was really hard, so I struggled a lot in the video. I made 2 versions of it, and I uploaded one to Olexa and I uploaded one to the main channel. And the main channel edited out some of my thinking and fumbling around, whereas the extra channel was the pure, raw, unfiltered Olexa, because I know some of you like that. You like seeing me struggle through puzzles and see how my brain works and see how that goes. This is not me saying that every time I upload a puzzle game, I'm going to do this, but I'm trying to capture a little bit more where I struggle without any value being added to the video, and start to maybe edit out some of those pieces. Open to feedback, by the way. Please let me know what you think in the comments, but we could explore that Olexa unedited version and then the Olexa channel more edited. Playlists are a mess. I had a lot of questions in the survey about playlists, and you may have noted that I didn't include any of those stats in here. The reality is that playlists are a mess. I think that playlists are an important part of the channel, and it's something that I'm going to really put a lot of work and effort in here soon. There's a stat, and I have it here in a little bit, but 66% of my views in 2026 came from videos not uploaded in 2026, which means that 2/3 of you are watching videos that I uploaded years ago, which means that my content that already exists is actually generating more views and revenue than the content I'm uploading today, which means that I need a way for you to see it and get to it easier. And that's with playlists. And right now I have a lot of playlists that are not very helpful. I need to improve them. I need to display them better. I need to find ways to get them more accessible to you. And that's a main thing that I knew, but you all brought it up, and that helps me to understand that I'm on the right track on that. Content in a lot of different places, right? So having the main channel, Olexa, board games, Twitch, Discord, podcasts, etc., makes the content ecosystem feel a little fragmented. I think there's ways we can work around that to have the Olexa channel as a hub and then all of the other avenues around it, while still tying all of it together to feel like you're not missing anything. But this is good to know. Olexa games, there's just not enough content there yet. And this is my biggest mistake of 2026. I started that channel too early, and I told you all that I started it too early. I had some opportunities to start it early with some of the videos that I made early on it. I told you guys that I wanted to do it at the end of 2026. I rushed it to the beginning of 2026, and now I have, basically abandoned it. This is a major me problem, and I'm not happy with myself about it. But we're going to fix it, right? We're going to get more videos on there. We're going to get more content on there. That channel is performing really well, like way better than I ever expected it to. And I still have a lot of games, a lot of ideas for that channel. That with a little bit more time, we're going to start populating it. But it's good to know you guys are interested in the channel. There's just not enough content on it yet. Streams are too irregular to plan around. Yeah, I agree, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I don't stream that often, and when I do, it's like, oh, I have the time. Hit go live, and everybody's like, Tyler, I'm at work. I'm away. I would have planned to be here. Like, it's just not well done, and I need to be better at communicating that. I talk about views too much and overreact to performance. I'm too hard on myself. We talked about it already. This is a me problem. I'm working on it. You worry that I'm going to start chasing metrics. We talked about that a little bit as well. It's not something that I'm doing, I promise you. This is more just how do I better improve the channel and my approach for the channel. Do not worry. I'm not going to start chasing metrics. Series consistency matters. So this is an important one, and I think that it's obvious, but I've never thought about it. Too large of a gap between episodes of a series is killing your interest in the series. It makes obvious sense, but I just haven't done that. And I'm seeing it more with Message from Deep Space right now. I'm uploading it daily, more or less, and you guys are coming back daily. So the views don't drop on the series because it's become a part of your schedule to do it. And that's what grows community and what grows a channel. And if I take too large of a gap between episodes and I start running like 4 series at a time that you get 2 videos a week, you're just going to lose care for that. Or you're going to watch somebody else play it and then blast through it, and then you don't really care where I'm at in it. So series consistency matters, and I'm going to take that into consideration more. I drop games that people are invested in too quickly because views fall off. We talked about that too. Yeah, I think it's a problem. Just in general, a lot of you talked about the Balatro-like and score-chasing roguelikes you were just done with. Brother, so am I, okay? This is just the game ecosystem right now. They're everywhere. I mean, every new game that I see is just another Balatro-like. There's only so much I can do with this one. If I want to cover new games, I gotta cover some of them. And some of them are good. The trend just needs to die. You know, it's like the Survivor likes from a couple years ago. Gaming goes in ebbs and flows of genres and ideas. When we find those truly like interesting, unique new games, that's where we shine, and I'm trying to find them, man. It's just there's only so many of them that are out there. But I'm with you. Like, they suck. I'm done with the Balatro likes. They're annoying to play. We'll find an approach to making that better on the channel. Finally, I get this one a lot, okay? Game name not visible in the title or thumbnail, and putting episode numbers on episodes. Listen, I'm just not gonna do this, okay? I have watched firsthand series that die because you put episode numbers in the thumbnails and titles. Game names in a title don't help the video. You don't know the title of a new random game that I'm playing. That title of that new random game is sometimes garbage, okay? Developers are naming games just absolutely heinous things that are like terrible for a search algorithm. So putting that in my title is just hurting the video. A lot of you go, well, you're hurting the developer because you're not promoting the title of the game. I think that developer is completely fine with my video getting 50,000 views of their game, where I call it out in the first minute and have it in the description. I think there's an approach. I'm not worried about the title, game name part. You guys are going to be fine not having that. The episode numbers I think we can work on. And I have an idea for it, which would basically be to display in the video in like the bottom right what episode that video is in the series. We obviously have the playlist, and if I can improve that, that helps in this scenario. But that way you guys can keep track of what video is what by being in the video. So it's something that I'm privy to. I understand that this is annoying. Me myself, I would be annoyed with it as well, but you gotta see it from my perspective. Like, I'm getting half the views by doing that, and it's probably more than that. 25% of the views by doing that. So it's just something that we got to figure out a good solution for. So what did I actually learn from this survey? A lot of things, okay? A lot of things. Basically, keep roguelikes a major pillar of the channel. 61% of you want more roguelikes. That's a pretty big number. Let the great games become real series, okay? A lot of you called out you want more episodes when you love a game. I drop games too quickly. I think that's reasonable. Aim for roughly 50%. New games, 50% series. You want the series. You want the new games, the weird games. 56% of you want that 50-50 balance. Don't artificially shorten videos. Video length doesn't matter, right? 45% of you don't care about that length if the video is good. Create a good product. You'll watch it. Experiment with new content ideas, different puzzle video editing styles, and evergreen content. Just to call it out, 44% of you wanted a 4 to 6 hour video. That's interesting to me. Keep discovering completely new games, okay? 25% of you say that a weird unknown game is the most exciting kind of upload. That's important for me to unpack. Increase the visual package for games to help differentiate between episodes and titles and things like that. We're going to try something, okay? If you have ideas, let me know. But we can improve something here. Improving the playlist and the archive of the channel. 66% of my views in 2026 have been on videos not uploaded in 2026. This is I think there's really something here for me to unpack. Improve communication planning and promotion. Nearly 50% of you didn't know about some of the other channels or my Discord. And the reality is that a lot of you called out, you really wouldn't mind if I just do that more. And I think that that's on me to promote my own content and kind of show you what's out there. And then finally, be kinder to myself, okay? 171 responses calling out my burnout, workload, well-being. Stop treating every video underperforming like it's a crisis and just focus on making good videos. I think that this is probably the most important part of this entire survey. So what comes next, right? What do I actually do with this? How do I improve things? I've kind of showed you some of the criticisms, some of what my takeaways are. I got a lot of comments, and I want to talk about it, okay? I got a lot of comments that basically went, I think I know why you're doing the survey. And those of you that think you might know why I'm doing the survey, you're not necessarily wrong, okay? Do I want to be cryptic on this one? No, I guess I don't want to be cryptic. My channel's doing well enough that I can consider this as a full-time job, okay? Am I considering it? Sure. I mean, obviously everybody would love to do this as a full-time job. There's a lot of concerns that go into doing YouTube full-time. And I just want to make sure that I'm in a good, stable footing with a good plan before I even consider it. And I wouldn't even go full-time if I did it. I would try to go part-time and do my full-time job part-time instead. Crank a couple more hours into my week for YouTube. Right now, I'm spending maybe 2 hours a day, if that, on YouTube. Adding another 10 hours to my week, like chopping 10 hours off of my workday and adding that 10 hours to YouTube doubles the amount of time that I spend on YouTube. That's a huge amount. So there's opportunities here for me to, if I think there's ways I can improve this channel to be more monetarily viable and have it as a full-time job to improve the content that I'm getting just by adding a couple hours to my week, that's something maybe I should explore, and things that I want to unpack. So it's not to say that this survey was all about that. A lot of it was just I want to see where things are at on the channel, and improve the product that I'm providing for you. But these things are in the back of my mind for what I want to do going forward with my channel and how to make it a business that I'm proud of and is monetarily viable for me. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know that this was a long video. I thought this was going to be 15 minutes when I recorded it. Guess what? 47 minutes long. Thanks for filling out the survey. Thanks for giving me the feedback. Thanks for watching the channel and loving the channel. Thanks for everything that you guys do. The reality is the Olexa channel and any YouTube channel is nothing without viewers watching the content. Obviously, I can make content as good or as bad as I can make it, but you watching it is what gives it success and what gives it I guess meaning, but I don't really like that because you can definitely make meaningful videos that don't get views, but like you get what I'm saying. You guys make it what it is. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for filling this out. Thanks for watching the channel. I've got fun stuff coming. I've got a lot of plans. I've got a lot of things I'm trying to do, and there's more to come. So thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video.